And as competition for a fuel, this should be the mantra of everybody who believes in change. Cleaner, safer, more efficient, abundant, available, and affordable. It is affordable. It's 50, 60, 70 cents a gallon right now, spot market price. You got to throw in Jeff's equipment cost, capital cost, and a little bit of profit, and the price goes up to about 50 a gallon, something like that. Well, diesel fuel outside today is $3 a gallon. These prices go up and down, but by bringing natural gas into the marketplace in a big way, that will create the competition that we need, and the market, get the markets working properly. The other thing it does is that if you follow the scientific literature and technical literature, there's a raging debate today on where are we going to get the hydrogen from. Some folks would like to, I would like to see it come from renewable electricity through the electrolysis of water. You get hydrogen, oxygen. Uses whether the electricity comes from outer space or from a PV panel on your roof. The point is, you can make it at the point of use. And we have the technology now to do that. The problem is it's not mass produced, so it's not real cheap, but it can be done. Honda, Ford, General Motors, Toyota are all going to be putting hydrogen fuel cell electric vehicles in the hands of consumers in Southern California in 2 to 3 years. Honda's already doing it. They have a vehicle called the Celebrity in the hands of a select number of people who are driving these things today. They have a fuel station, has a Shell sign on it. It's in Santa Monica. Arnie Schwarzenegger pulls up with his hydrogen Hummer, and he fills it up alongside the folks that are filling up their hydrogen Celebrities. My point in bringing this up is that natural gas creates a pathway to hydrogen that is controlled by the market and cannot be cornered by any individual company. And that's important because right now, you're seeing the price of oil went down when this spill happened. I don't know if you noticed that or not. It dropped like a rock. Now it's creeping back up. But we really don't have a free market in oil. We talk about like we have a free market in oil, but we don't. So by bringing in another fuel in a big way, which natural gas does, and also, by the way, the advanced biofuels will become much more available, but it's going to take another 5 to 10 years. That will also create competition. And that's what it's all about, because you got to have competition that drives the price down, but you got to have regulation that also says that these have to be low carbon motor fuels so that we get away from this problem we talked about earlier, which is climate change. Now, the benefit of also going to low carbon motor fuels like methane or natural gas is that you have other issues like leaking underground storage tanks. Anybody know about the inland trust funds in Florida? Anybody hear that? Anybody not seeing a gas station with a pile of limestone and a big hole in the ground? 1986, the Florida legislature put a tax on every barrel of petroleum brought into the state. It's about 2 cents a gallon. Creates a fund that has about $120 million a year since 1986. You can do the math. 24 years times $100 million a year. It's $2.5 billion in the state. It's an industry that I helped start. I helped participate in. It's called cleaning up leaking underground storage tanks. You dig a hole in the ground. You pull out the rusty old leaky tank and you replace it with another tank that has a diaper underneath it, and monitoring wells, and leak detection, and a whole bunch of other bells and whistles. They keep your petroleum guy busy for the rest of his life, making money, doing what? Monitoring for pollution, and then when it leaks, which it eventually will, you dig it up and do it again. The trust fund is still in place, and not only does it reimburse tank owners for the cost of the cleanup of the water and the soil that's polluted from a leak, it also subsidizes the liability insurance, third-party liability insurance that the owner can get. So you're paying already a subsidy to stay addicted to liquid petroleum-based motor fuels. And if you mix them with ethanol, it doesn't really help solve that problem. You still got the hydrocarbons, the benzene, and the toluene, and the xylene, and all that stuff is still there. I went to Carol Browner, who is now, anybody hear of Carol Browner? No, she was the Secretary of EPA under Clinton, 1994, she was the Secretary of the Florida Department of Environmental Regulation in Tallahassee, University of Florida law school graduate, worked on outdoor staff. That's how she got the job. Carol is now the energy czar. She is the lady on the hot seat advising Obama on what to do about our oil problem. I have a letter from Carol. I went to Carol when I learned about this trust fund, and I learned about natural gas vehicles in 1990, and I said, Carol, we need to do something to prevent pollution. Not just clean it up, but prevent it. Because the Congress passed a law in 1990 called the Pollution Prevention Act. You're going to hear a lot about the Oil Spill Act of 1990. Well, the other that was passed was the Pollution Prevention Act of 1990. And that act said basically that you, as a consumer, should not have dimethyl death underneath the kitchen counter and in the bathroom. I'm talking about like carbon tetrafluoride, dichloroethylene, fluorinated hydrocarbons. If you notice, they're all gone. Now you have citron oil and nice, friendly things for the most part. Environmentally friendly solvents to clean up your engines and your kitchen counters. Well, the Pollution Prevention Act was very effective. It got rid of all these nasty toxic chemicals in the consumer environment, and in the workplace exposure went way down. What didn't happen was that petroleum hydrocarbons were exempt at the federal level. So I asked Secretary Browner if she could take this inland trust fund and divert 5 to 10% of that money from the cleanup to subsidizing, to providing incentives to build natural gas vehicle fueling stations here in Florida. This is in 1994. And I have this wonderful letter from her. It's the only letter I've got from anybody that's that high up in the stratosphere of the government. It basically says, Dave, this is a wonderful idea, but I'm sorry, but I cannot do this because I cannot get it through the Florida legislature. So, folks, it's a Washington problem, and I got to tell you, she's now in Washington, and natural gas vehicles are not at the front on the tips of the tongues of the Obama administration in terms of solving our oil problem, because they're not looking at the short-term market forces. Rahm Emanuel, who did not support my run for Congress, does not return my phone calls when I call in and say, hey, I'll give you free advice on how to solve the oil problem. They're not listening. So I'll close with this appeal. Cleaner, safer, more efficient, affordable, available today in almost every community in the United States. If the vehicles were mass-produced, it would give you the opportunity to save $1 a gallon for the next 20 years and build the infrastructure needed to bring the hydrogen fuel cell vehicle, accelerate that to the marketplace, motivate Honda, which is very motivated. They built the Honda Civic GX. It's the only natural gas vehicle available now. It's light duty. It's an OEM. It's $25,000. It's about the same as a Prius. It's the cleanest vehicle made in the world today. But they really only sell them in Southern California because that's where there are natural gas fueling stations. Because it's an air pollution control cleanup strategy. All the air pollution in Florida, we make more air pollution than California, but we don't have an air quality problem because we don't have mountains. We don't have the San Gabriel Mountains holding everything in. At night, it all blows out to sea. And the only time it comes back is when the Bermuda High decides to sit there for a while, and then it gets nasty. But it takes about a week for that to happen. So, my message: call your congressman. Not once, not twice, but ring the phone off the hook. Ron Klein, right? Ron Klein didn't support me either, by the way, because I was too radical. Somehow this clean energy stuff just didn't fly in 2002. Anyway, call your congressman and call Rahm Emanuel, and don't take no for an answer. Call him back until you talk to somebody in the White House who will listen to you.
Yeah, Emanuel's phone number?